Hey guys, Sebastian here. So today I'm with Chess Dump. If you guys do not know, I have recently changed the name of the channel from Sebastian's Bad Chess Channel to Chess Dump. So let's begin. We're breaking down round 3 of the Garry Kasparov versus Deep Blue game. Currently they are tied 1-1, and with Garry Kasparov winning the last game and Deep Blue winning the first game. Let's begin. Deep Blue with the white pieces, Garry Kasparov's with the black. And yes, I'm wearing a hoodie. I know that's surprising. And you guys can even see my scorebook in the background and my deodorant. So again, e4, c5, and c3. The Alpine Sicilian. As same thing as in the first game, just building up the move d4, d5, e takes d5, queen takes d5, d4, knight to f6, knight to f3, bishop to g4, bishop to e2, e6, short castles, knight c6, bishop to e3, c takes d4, c takes d4, bishop b4, and a3. Bishop a5 and knight c3. Apparently, I already drew the arrows. So, the idea was after moving your bishop here, you're laser beaming every piece of development that this bishop had. The knight, both squares you will immediately take it on. So a3, bishop a5, and knight c3 is a good idea because, well, let's see. So you've already moved it once. Now you've moved it twice. So if you take this, I just take back, and you've helped my pawn structure, and you've moved this piece 3 times in the opening, which is not very good. So instead, Garry Kasparov plays queen to d6, not hanging his queen, and knight to e5. This is the first difference that this is opposed to what Deep Blue played in the first game, which was knight b5, knight e5, just centralizing the knight. Bishop takes e2, queen takes e2, bishop takes e3, b takes c3, knight takes e5, and bishop to b4. You working with this pin. Knight to f3, queen takes f3, defending the bishop and getting his king out of check. Queen to d5 and queen to d3, keeping his queen centralized and kind of controlling these light squares. Rook to c8, rook f to c1, queen to c4, queen takes c4, and rook takes c4. Garry Kasparov is trying to get his queen, just trying to get the queens off the board, so Deep Blue will not have as big of an attack. Rook cb1, sacrificing this pawn, but getting his rook on this. Getting his rook on the 7th rank and just beating every piece up. b6, bishop b8, attacking the a7 pawn. Rook a4, defending the a7 pawn, and rook to b4, rook a5, and rook to c4. Short castles, bishop to d6, rook to a8, rook to c6, just b5, king to f1, because since the queens are off the board, the king becomes more powerful and they can get out. You should always once queens are off the board, you can generally get your king out. They're more powerful because there's less of a likelihood you can get checked. Rook a4, rook to b1, a6, king e2, h5, king to d3, rook to d8, bishop e7, rook d7, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, and rook to b3, king to g7, king to e3, e5, g3, e takes d4, c takes d4, rook to e7, check, king to f3, rook to d7, rook to d6, rook to d3, rook a takes d4, rook takes d4, rook takes d4, rook takes a6, and b4. Black plays b4, and they agree to a draw. Why? Because after takes and takes, oops, that's losing. after takes and takes, it's a listen. It's a 3-on-3. There we go. It's a 3-on-3. Two rooks and equally active kings. So like, there's really nothing you can do. Like, you can just get your king up, and white plays something like back, just gets his pawns. It's a draw, so they agreed to a draw. Now, if we look at lines and evaluation, all lines are a draw. So yeah, thank you for watching this. And I hope that you guys like the name, well, the new name, Chess Dump, instead of Sebastian's Bad Chess Channel. I just thought that this might be a little bit easier to remember. Sorry about the shortness of this video. This was a short game. So yeah. Have a good day. Have a good morning. Good even have a good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on your time zone. Sebastian out.